must see this. He was accused of raping 5 girls, a true... The air was thick with tension as the gavel struck, sealing his fate. At just 22 years old, Marcus Reed stood in a courtroom, accused of a crime so heinous it turned his world upside down. The rape of 5 young women. The evidence was circumstantial. Grainy security footage, inconsistent witness testimonies, and a rushed investigation. But it was enough for a jury to convict him. The headlines screamed guilt, and the public swallowed the narrative whole. 6 years in a maximum security prison awaited him, a sentence that felt like a death knell for a man who swore he was innocent. Marcus had always been a quiet, unassuming guy, tall, wiry, with a shy smile that made people trust him. He'd grown up in a small town, worked odd jobs, and dreamed of something better. But that dream shattered the day the police kicked in his door, handcuffs gleaming in the dim light. The accusations didn't add up, but the truth didn't seem to matter. The system needed a villain, and Marcus fit the frame they'd built. Stepping into Blackwood Prison was like walking into a lion's den. The walls loomed grey and unforgiving, the air heavy with the stench of sweat and despair. Inmates sized him up instantly, fresh meat, an easy target. His first night, a hulking figure cornered him in the cell block, a shiv glinting in the shadows. "You that rapist kid, huh?" the man snarled. Marcus didn't flinch. "I didn't do it," he said, voice steady despite the fear clawing at his chest. The man laughed, but something in Marcus's eyes made him back off. That moment set the tone. Survival wouldn't come from fists alone. He'd need to think his way out. Days turned into weeks, and Marcus learned the prison's unwritten rules. Keep your head down, but don't look weak. Trust no one, but know who pulls the strings. It was during a tense yard session that he met Darius Kane, an inmate whose name carried weight. Darius was a lifer, a man with a rap sheet longer than most novels, but he had a code. Tattoos snaked up his arms, and his piercing gaze could silence a room. Rumours said he'd once run the prison's underground economy, and even the guards gave him a wide berth. To Marcus, he was a walking paradox, terrifying yet magnetic. Their alliance began by chance. Marcus overheard a guard tipping off a rival gang about a shakedown, and he passed the intel to Darius. It was a gamble, but it paid off. Darius's crew avoided a brutal ambush, and in return, he took Marcus under his wing. "You're not like the others," Darius said one night, his voice low over the clatter of the mess hall. "You got brains. That's rare in here." For Marcus, it was the first flicker of hope since the cell door slammed shut. Together, they hatched a plan. Darius had connections. Shady lawyers, ex-cops turned private investigators, even a journalist who owed him a favor. Marcus pored over his case files, smuggled in by a sympathetic guard, searching for cracks in the prosecution's story. The deeper they dug, the clearer it became. The timeline didn't match. The witnesses had been coerced, and the DNA evidence was mishandled. But proving it from behind bars was a different beast. Every move risked exposure. Snitches lurked in every corner, and the warden didn't take kindly to troublemakers. The threats came fast. A shank grazed Marcus's ribs during a shower brawl, a warning from inmates loyal to the real culprit, someone still walking free. Darius took a beating to protect him, his blood staining the concrete as guards looked the other way. The psychological toll gnawed at Marcus. Nightmares of the trial, the girl's accusing eyes, the life he'd lost. Yet Darius kept him grounded. "You fall apart, they win," he'd growl, slamming a fist on the table. "We're getting you out." Months bled into years, but their resolve didn't waver. The journalist finally broke the story. Headlines shifted from "monster convicted" to "miscarriage of justice." Public pressure mounted, and a new attorney took up Marcus's appeal. On a crisp fall day, after 4 years of hell, the cell door swung open. A judge had overturned the conviction, citing egregious errors. Marcus walked out, the sun blinding after so long in the dark. Darius stayed behind, a faint smirk on his face as he waved through the bars. "Told you, kid. Rise." Freedom wasn't the end of Marcus's trials. The world had moved on without him. Friends gone, family fractured, his name still whispered with suspicion. But he carried lessons from Blackwood. Resilience, loyalty, the power of truth. With Darius's voice echoing in his mind, Marcus vowed to rebuild, to fight for others like him. His story wasn't just survival. It was a call to rise against a system that too often buries the innocent.